$1 trillion. That means we found a lot of waste, but it's everywhere. It's in all the big departments, in the Department of State. It's in NIH. It's in the National Science Foundation.
Hello and welcome to the DOGE and Maha News Channel. My name is Chris. In this video, we're going to talk about the Department of Government Efficiency. Specifically, we're going to talk about Rand Paul's 2024 Festival Report, in which he outlines $1 trillion of wasteful spending in the year 2024. We're going to react to this video, and then we're going to go ahead and go directly to Rand Paul's report. Let's check it out.
Joe Biden's wild spending spree exposed in Senator Rand Paul's 10th Annual Festivus Report, showing the more than $1 trillion in government waste. Making the list this year, of course, you got to have your Sesame Street show in Rack, a multi-million-dollar pickleball complex in Las Vegas, a drag cabaret show on ice, and, of course, border security for ... Paraguay.
Okay, let's pause here real quick and check this out. Okay, so the first thing in the upper left is Big Bird. What's Big Bird doing? Okay, so USAID spent $20 million on Alan Simpson, a Sesame Street show in Iraq. Interesting. Why are we doing that? You tell me. And why is USAID spending that money? Here we got a pickleball in Vegas. DOI spent $12 million on a Las Vegas pickleball complex. Sounds like a good government investment. And then in the top middle, some cat experiments. The Department of Defense spent $10.8 million on Orwellian cat experiment at the University of Pittsburgh. It was less of an experiment and more of just plain old animal cruelty. And then below that, the climate action in Brazil. The DOS spent $3 million for girl-centered climate action in Brazil. Girl-centered climate action. I don't even know what that means. And secondly, why are they doing that in Brazil? Top right, Paraguay border security. The DOS spent $2.1 million on border security for Paraguay. Wow. I mean, at least we're spending money on other borders besides Ukraine. And then the bottom right, drag show on ice. NEA awarded $10,000 to support a climate change focused drag cabaret show on ice. Sounds like a good investment.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joins us now. Senator, this is an annual list you do. You've got a lot of problems with government people, to quote Seinfeld further. How tough is it to target and find the entries on this list?
I like how he calls this the Festivus Report because if you remember from Seinfeld, one of the first things you do at Festivus is to air your grievances. And here we have Rand Paul airing his grievances of wasteful government spending.
You know, I got a lot of problems with big spenders in both parties. And here's the thing, everywhere you look, you find more of this stuff. $1 trillion. That means we found a lot of waste, but it's everywhere. It's in all the big departments, in the Department of State. It's in NIH. It's in the National Science Foundation. And people wonder, why does it exist every year? We have this Department of DOGE. Are they going to be able to get rid of it? Well, the only way to get rid of it is to spend less money. So if you give the National Science Foundation $4 billion one year, and then you increase it to $8 billion, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that you're going to get more waste, not less.
That's a really great point. So what they're doing every year is they're giving these agencies more and more money, and then the agencies just go out and spend it on ridiculous experiments or pet projects in other countries and around the world, things that the American people should not be paying for, but for some reason these government agencies think it's a good expenditure of their money. And probably honestly, what's really happening is that someone's friend, they're getting paid a lot of money to do some experiment or some research or to initiate some kind of project in another country. It's basically money laundering is what's happening.
It's been going on since the 70s, but it has exploded. But you have to be willing to cut spending for the overall department. NIH will have more waste if you give them more money. They spent $3 million studying what kids do when they look at ads for food on Facebook. So they had a whole bunch of kids look at ads for food on Facebook, and that was $3 million worth.
Why is the NIH doing a study like that. I'm pretty sure that all the food companies have already done those studies. They've already done all of those studies because they're trying to get kids to eat more and more of their junk food. So why does the NIH need to do that?
I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars to drill holes into cats' head, spin them around rapidly, and study motion sickness. Sounds more like animal cruelty than it actually sounds like an experiment, but the list goes on.
That's disgusting. That should not be happening in America.
And on.
And that's not to mention, I mean, you have stolen COVID relief funds, $8 million. One guy from Florida did it to buy an island. You mentioned the cat. The list does go on and on, but you also alluded to this.
What does this say here? Stolen COVID-19 relief funds. A Florida man stole $8 million in COVID-19 relief funds to buy an island. And I'm sure nothing's happened to him. I'm sure he's just gotten off scot-free. There's been no arrest for stealing this money. I'm sure there's been no consequences for this guy.
Senator, do you think your tradition ends this year? In other words, is this the year that DOGE eliminates the need for you to go through and make this list, because they've done it over the course of the intervening 365 days?
Ultimately, it takes Congress. Congress has to get rid of the spending. DOGE can point out the spending problems and the waste the same way I've been pointing it out. But the reason it's not eliminated is they don't have the votes to get rid of the spending. So I am very hopeful that DOGE will draw attention to this the same way I've been drawing attention to it. But I'll give you an example.
Yeah, hopefully DOGE can highlight it. Hopefully Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will definitely use X to basically highlight all of this wasteful spending that all these agencies are doing. And like Kevin O'Leary said in a previous video, that exposure will squeeze the heads of the lawmakers and force them to actually make good decisions. It will put pressure on the leaders of these government agencies to not spend money so wastefully. Because once it's highlighted by X and we the people stand up and say, we do not want this, this is unacceptable, and then hopefully that kind of pressure will put a stop to this stupid spending.
About a year ago, there was a chips bill, a bill to subsidize microchips, semiconductors in the United States. Well, in that bill, they doubled the size of the National Science Foundation. Now, the National Science Foundation is the one that's famous for doing a study on whether tequila or gin makes people more aggressive. So they fed fish, half of them tequila, and the other half of the fish gin, and they decided which made the fish more aggressive. That's the National Science Foundation.
I think it's tequila. I think the answer is tequila.
Most of the terrible, wasteful projects, the crazy stuff and experiments that's going on is National Science Foundation. In the CHIPS bill, all the Democrats and half the Republicans voted to double the size of the National Science Foundation. So why is there more waste? Because the idiots in Congress keep giving them more money.
Well,
yes, they do. Both Democrats and Republicans, they just love spending money, spending money, spending money. Stop it. Just stop it.
Will be interesting to see again what happens when Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the White House. Very different from what we've experienced the last 96 hours in Congress. Will this waste go away? Will you be needed on Christmas Eve next year? We will see. Senator Rand Paul, enjoy the day and the week.
Yeah, I am hoping that Senator Rand Paul's Festivus report for next year will be minuscule compared to the report from this year, where he's reporting $1 trillion in wasteful spending. Yeah, let's go ahead and check out that report here in a second.
Week with your family, and we thank you.
Okay, here's the Festivus report. I'm going to go ahead and leave this link down below, so check that out if you want to go ahead and check out this Festivus report yourself. But let's go ahead and zoom in on this. So Dr. Paul releases the 2024 Festivus report on government waste. Okay, it says, today, U.S. Senator Rand Paul, ranking member of the Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, releases 2024 Festivus report totaling, let's pause here. Wow, that is a lot of numbers. $1 trillion, $8,313,329,626.12 in government waste. Did I do that number right? That is a big number. And Here we got Cookie Monster on top here. Let's read some of this down here. This marks Dr. Paul's 10th anniversary of the Festivus Report as he continues working to alert the American people to how their federal government uses their hard-earned money. Some of the highlights include the National Endowment for the Arts funding ice skating drag queens and promoting city park circuses. Additionally, the Department of the Interior, the DOI, invested in the construction of a brand new $12 million Las Vegas pickleball complex. DOI also allocated $720,000 to wetland conservation projects for ducks in Mexico. Oh, good. This year, the Department of State, the DOS, is featured 11 times with expenditures including $4.8 million on Ukrainian influencers. Oh, good. $32,596 on breakdancing. $2.1 million for Paraguayan border security, good, and $3 million for girl-centered climate action in Brazil, and much more. Wow. Honestly, the people that are leading these agencies, the DOI, the DOS, they need to be fired. They just plain need to be fired. This is ridiculous. Let's go ahead and click in on this report and check out some of the highlights here. Okay, the Festivus Report. Let's go down to some of the summary stuff right here. I'm going to hit on a couple of them here, but I think I probably should do a few videos on this because there's a lot of information. Ghost towns on the government's dime. The federal government spent $10 billion on maintaining, leasing, and furnishing almost entirely empty buildings. Yeah, DOGE has been talking a lot about the empty government buildings because no one is coming to work anymore. Let's see. Here's your tax dollars at play. The Department of Interior spent $12 million on a Las Vegas pickle complex. The Department of State wasted $330,000 to fund censorship of non-liberal and conservative media. Thank you, DOS. The Department of Health and Human Services, the HHS, awarded a $2 million grant to study kids looking at Facebook ads about food. The Department of State spent $108,000 on a non-functioning hotel. What? Oh, my gosh. Congress spent $50 million to turn the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, into an unconstitutional force to prepare, file, and audit your hard-earned money. Let's see here. The Department of Health and Human Services spent $419,000 to determine if lonely rats seek cocaine more than happy rats. Oh, my God. This is actually hard to believe. The Department of Energy spent $15.5 billion to push Americans toward electric vehicles that they don't want. Facts. We don't want them. The influencer effect. Let's see. The Department of State squandered $4.8 million on influencers. Really? The National Endowment for the Arts spent $365,000 to promote circuses in city parks. That's nice. And it goes on and on and on. So I would encourage you to check out the link below. This is going to Rand Paul's Festivus Report, and it is 41 pages of goodness here, and we'll have to go through some of these pages in some future videos to check out the details to kind of have a good laugh, but also cry a little bit. Well, Merry Christmas. The Festivus Report is live. Honestly, it makes me sick. It makes my stomach hurt inside and knot up. It makes me angry. It makes me laugh because it's just so ridiculous. You can't believe that this is true. But, you know, this is basically the government's way of laundering money to their friends on all of these little pet projects. And people need to be held accountable. They need to be fired for it. It's ridiculous. I really can't wait to see what DOGE does with all of this information. Hopefully they can really cut back this wasteful spending and make a big difference for the American people. If you're interested in following the DOGE story, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel because pretty much every single day I'm going to bring you the latest DOGE information, so you don't want to miss anything. Hit that notification bell. And if you're interested in other DOGE videos, I do have a playlist I'm going to go ahead and put right there. Also, if you want to subscribe, go ahead and click on the button right there. And I just want to say thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.